Well, cool. Welcome, guys, to some politics on YouTube this time. Holy shit. Oh my god, it's YouTube. Well, YouTube. Alright, so, yeah, I switched to YouTube because, Rumble is just, well,
as you know,
it's not very good. Alright.
This computer.
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed you're not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
they told me.
Yes.
What did he say? He says, I hope you're not suggesting that I should smuggle a terrorist back into the United States. Listen.
What is your, can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed you're not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
They told me.
How can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like.
How do we get here? That's crazy, bro. Like, yeah, this is common. Bro, we are so back.
I knew him as a very young man. Now he's just a young man. And he's done a fantastic job. Mr. President, it's an honor to have you.
Yep.
Incredibly.
Content president, that's right.
And
The new Salvadorian president.
working with you.
Doesn't seem like that bad of a dude.
And so do we. And it's very, very effective. And I want to just say hello
At
to
least
the
for
people
now.
of
Seems
El
like a
Salvador
gangster.
and say they have one hell of a president. Okay, and I mean that. And I know
Well, they love him over there. Like, this dude's approval ratings in El Salvador are through the fucking roof.
Yeah, they're like 60%.
Like,
It's crazy.
they love him.
I don't really understand how.
I know
but
him
Maybe he's just a good guy.
as a
He's
very
actually a
young
good
man,
guy.
Marco. Even younger than you. You know, he started pretty young.
Little Marco.
He'll always be younger.
Yeah.
Young at heart. But I want to thank you for the great job you're doing. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to be here in the Oval Office with the president and leader of the free world. We're very happy, and we're very eager to help. We know that
That's
we
right.
have a crime problem, a terrorism problem that you need help with.
Yep.
And we're a small country, but if we can help, we can do it. And we actually turned the murder capital of the world. That was the journalist.
That's what's crazy is that like 10 years ago, I would always use El Salvador as an example for a PvP server.
Yep,
And then this guy came in and just flipped the script.
pretty much.
Right.
murder capital of the world into the safest country in the Western Hemisphere.
It's impressive, it is.
And you know, sometimes they say that we imprison thousands. I like to say that we actually liberated millions.
He didn't imprison thousands, he liberated millions. This is absolutely fucking true. Is that you have a handful of parasites that cause all of the problems, and then after you get rid of them, then the problems go away. And so, like, basically, you get rid of all the people that are killing other people and selling drugs and stealing things, and then everything gets better for everybody else. It's actually a pretty simple solution. And it's crazy how easy it is to make it work. And the problem, I think, is that in America, it's viewed as a bad thing. But the truth is that you're not doing the people there any favors by letting them get terrorized by these psychos.
Pretty much.
And I think that's the worst part about it, is that you have these, you know, I think these are people living in gated communities that have like these high-minded ideals of like, oh, let's defund the police. These are the people that need the police the most.
So, you know, like,
It's very good. Who gave him that line? Do you think I can use that?
and in fact, Mr. President, you have 350 million people to liberate. But to liberate 350 million people, you have to imprison some.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way it works, right? You cannot just free the criminals and think crime's going to go down magically. You have to imprison them so you can liberate 350 million Americans that are asking for
Exactly.
the end of crime and the end of terrorism. And it can be done. I mean,
He's completely right.
Already. And I'm sure that people have seen the change in the streets. A long way to go because you're just initiating your second term. But it's clear that, you know, with the numbers at the border, you know, when even in Democrat-run cities, they get help from the work you're doing. So I'm really happy to be here, honored, and eager to help.
Well, we had a terrible thing happen. We had an administration that allowed people to come in freely into our
What?
Right, who?
from not only South America, but from all over the world. Many from the Congo in Africa, Asia, all over the world, Europe, rough parts of Europe. And they came from prisons, and they came from mental institutions, and they came from gangs, and the gangs of Venezuela, other places. And hundreds of thousands and even
Sounds
millions
pretty bad.
of them came. 21 million people altogether, but many of the people that came, just a tremendous percentage of them were criminals, in some cases violent criminals. We had 11,088 known murderers, half of them murdered.
11,088 known.
Known murderers. And this is what we can do already to stop them.
Person. This was allowed by a man
Who?
what he did to our country is just unbelievable. So we're straightening it out. We're getting him out. But what they did and what that party did to our country, open borders, anybody could come in. As soon as I heard that, I said, every prison's going to be emptied out into our country. That's what happened. And we're straightening it out. And
Thank
we just
God.
had numbers. We had the highest recruiting numbers in the history of our country going into police departments. And a year ago, we had the lowest.
Fucking obviously. It's the same reason as the military. Who the fuck wants to serve and be a professional cuck? People that want to be police officers want to. Some of them are just assholes, of course. But many of them want to do a good thing. Why
Yep.
the fuck would you want to go and be a police officer if you're just going to get cucked with everything?
I know, seriously. Yes. It's completely right, man.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Now Taxes is having a TurboTax expert who does your taxes from start to finish. While you check in anytime and get the most money back on your time. Now this is Taxes.
I hate taxes.
Numbers. You couldn't hire
The
a
biggest
policeman.
change.
Yeah.
Nobody's
From
ever
the
seen
lowest
it.
to the highest.
And the military now, Marines, the Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, every slot is, I mean, we have the best numbers we've ever had. We call it recruitment numbers, and we've never had anything like it. We had records on at every single level.
Yeah, as the military,
real?
too.
Very important, the policemen. The policemen are joining forces now that we're having a hard time with policemen because we weren't protecting our police.
Yeah.
And we cherish our police. The police are great, and the firemen and everybody
Yes, we do.
else. But
We always
we have
have.
the highest
Yep.
numbers that we've ever had. The most
Do you know
abused.
who hates the police?
Left wing.
White liberals that live in gated communities.
Yeah, I don't really know why.
Says we great enthusiasm and
We're protecting
on
them the
trade and
most.
other things. We're doing great. We're taking in billions and billions
That's why I
of
don't
dollars.
protect
Karens.
serve
We
anymore.
made 2 weeks ago. I gave them a little bit of a pause
Well, I don't
because
fucking-
you have to show a little flexibility.
Help
We go
people
back
anymore,
to
bro.
what we have to
Fuck
do.
that
The
shit.
markets have been very strong once they got used to
Serve
it. but
people and you get
We were
fucking
losing
fucked over by a bunch
$2
of
billion
Karens.
a day. There's no company big like this, but this is the biggest deal ever made. Now we're making $3 billion a day.
What?
We're a great country,
When
but
do
we
I
had
get it?
stupid people running this country, and I can say it.
You don't
But
need
what
it.
they've done to us at the border should never and can never be forgotten. It's a sin what they did.
You already
And
have
were
it,
helping
brother.
us out, and we appreciate it.
That's right. That's right.
Actually, what you're doing with the border is remarkable. It has dropped, what, 95%? It's incredible.
It's been more than that.
As of this morning, 99%, 99.1% to be exact.
Why are those numbers not in the news?
Yeah, no, like, because it was like, there were like apparently like 11,000 people that got in, like, I think it was in like February. And then like last year. And then like this year, it was one person got in. Honestly, I feel like if you can get in and you can outmaneuver the military and you can get across, I feel like you probably should just get citizenship. Like at this point, like that's impressive to me. It is. That's impressive. Yeah, you deserve like at least you get a green card for a while, right? Like, one, that's amazing. Yeah, like, that's impressive. Yeah, like Takashi Castle, exactly.
True, I guess.
Well, they get out with the fake news, you know, like CNN over here doesn't want to put them out because they don't like putting out good numbers. They only like putting out because I think they hate our country, actually.
Yeah, this is very,
But it's
He says it,
It's so
and he
funny.
just pauses and looks at him and smiles.
I know.
Yeah, hear that?
You hear that, you little bitch?
It's a shame. You're right. Isn't that a great question? Why doesn't the media? Why don't they put out numbers?
yeah, 99%. I mean, it's crazy, right?
We're doing
It's
great.
a crazy turnaround.
Christy, could you maybe say a couple of words about the border? How we're doing?
You know, it's just been absolutely phenomenal what a great leader can do. Clear direction, our laws matter. We should only have people in our country that love us, and the Border Patrol and our ICE officers and law enforcement officers have done fantastic work. So we're proud of them. Now we just need to get the criminals and murderers and rapists and dangerous gang members and terrorist organizations out of our country. So, Mr. President Bukele, we thank you very much for your partnership. It has been wonderful for us to be able to have somewhere to send the worst of the worst and someone to partner with.
That's right. We
And
sent
we'd
him to
like
super
to
jail.
continue that partnership because it's been a
Super
powerful message
jail.
of consequences. Mr. President, you wanted people to know that there was consequences if you break our laws and harm our people and endanger families, and this is a clear consequence for
See,
the
that's
worst.
what I was saying, is that if you know that you're being sent to super jail if you fuck around, I guarantee you there's going to be less people that want to fuck around.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's a fact.
That's a fucking true
Yeah,
ass
literally, who
statement.
doesn't want to deport these people? People that never have to live with the consequences of not deporting them.
Yep.
That's the answer. It's a luxury position that's held by people that never have to be held accountable for it.
Karens.
To the worst, that we have somewhere to put them.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we even had this gang member from Venezuela, one of the ones you sent, and
Yeah.
we interviewed him just to get some information, etc. from them. And he said, "Oh, well, I got arrested 6 times, but they released me the 6 times, so I should be released again." And then we said, "Well, what's the last thing you do?" And he said, "Well, I shot a cop in the leg, but I didn't."
With a decade of experience working with over 16,000 brands,
Great.
we've built a reputation for delivering.
I love these people, man. I love these people, bro.
What?
Worst part is I bet he's a black dude too, which sucks, man.
Didn't kill him. I just shot him in the leg.
I was like, yeah, why do they have me in jail, bro? He's not even dead. What's this uptight shit?
The
I mean,
unfortunate
like
thing
this
is
guy
that it's
was
probably a
arrested
black
6
man
times
too.
here in the United States. 6 times. He was
Yeah.
released 6 times, and in the he was released 5 times, and the last time he was sent to El Salvador, right? So he's not getting a release. But the last time he shot a cop, actually, and
immigrant?
he shot him in the leg.
Oh, shit.
So
Probably a
these
black
are,
man.
Gee, guys, I wonder why people don't want to join the police force. Well, I don't know. Maybe people don't like being they don't want to sign up to be a target dummy.
like you said,
True.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
We're gonna
there's
see a
something
lot of
broken.
fucking
The liberal
robot cops.
establishment. But they're not running things anymore in this country, and we're run by, and I don't say conservative, I don't say anything, we're run by people with great common sense.
Yeah, common sense.
Because it's all common sense. It's not liberal conservative, it's common sense.
Exactly.
And, like, do you allow men to play in women's sports? Do you allow men to box? Your women in box, because I know you have a lot of
That's
boxing.
violence.
That's abusive. It's abusive. But we have people that fight for the.
Yeah, it's violence against women. Exactly, it is.
Of course it
It's
is.
so obvious.
Why wouldn't it be?
Duh. Fucking duh.
Of course it is.
Of course.
You troglodyte.
Because they think men should be able to play in women's sports, and some of those sports it wouldn't
No,
matter
you're right. He is really orange today. Yeah, bro, he got it on thick today.
much, but it's
He,
still
he used the whole Cheeto bag.
matters. But some of them are very dangerous for them.
Some years ago,
Jay did a good job.
like you said, a decade ago or so, women rights movements were pressuring so that
Yeah.
we enacted specific laws to avoid men abusing women. And those laws were great because there were a lot of men abusing women.
I think that like the language of it not being about like sports or equality, but it just being about women being abused. I think this is another example of how I feel like one thing that I really like about him and also Trump is that, and JD Vance and like a lot of the people here, is that they're co-opting the emotional manipulation and they're using it in their benefit. Because like that's really what it is. And a lot of these positions that these people have are totally built on emotional blackmail and manipulation.
Yep, pretty much.
And the implication of like you're a bad person or something like that. And so as soon as you break that and you can counter that with something that's equivalent, it immediately falls apart. And that's why the support for these positions have fallen off a cliff.
Oh, yeah.
It's because the emotional upper hand has been lost. And that
Pretty
was
much.
the only reason that people ever held the
And that's
position
not-
to begin with. Everybody knows this is retarded, but if they can feel good about themselves saying it, they'll do it anyway.
Some of the same people are trying to backtrack on that and actually trying to make new laws allowing men to abuse women in sports.
Yeah.
So actually, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
You know, they have weightlifting records, right? A woman gets up this way, she's incredible. A guy gets up and beats her by 100 pounds. What are you going to do? A record that hadn't been broken in 18 years.
I wonder why.
They put on an ounce, quarter of an ounce, eighth of an ounce for 18 years. Now they have a guy come up, ping. The whole thing is crazy. But they continue to fight.
Are you
And I don't like
fucking
talking
serious,
about it because I want
dude?
to save it for just before the next election. I said, my people, don't even talk about it because it'll change. Then
Yeah.
we'll have but I watched this morning. There was a congressman.
No, I think that there are a lot of people is like, this is like, it's like a flat earth position where like, if you think that like men should compete against women in sports, you're like disqualified because you're not in reality. It's like a reality benchmark check that you fail.
Fighting to the death of the men.
Like that's how I see it, right? Is like if a person believes that, this person is not using logic to come to conclusions, so I can't trust them to make decisions. It's the same with flat Earth.
True.
To play against women in sports.
Fuck, he's right, though.
And you say to yourself, why? What are they doing? What are they doing? But your country's not too big on that.
Have you looked at the reality of your argument? Have you listened to John Oliver talk about this?
He's fucking correct, 100%, bro.
Are men stronger than women?
No. It's impossible. Women are way stronger. Everybody knows this.
It's a very simple question. Just yes or no. I mean, this is, you know, because this is an important question, right? A lot of people don't know the answer to this.
I think a lot of people know the answer to this, but they don't want to admit the answer to this because they're fucking...
Most of the time, it isn't men and women, it's kids. Men are usually stronger than women.
Men are always stronger
Okay.
than women. Always stronger than women.
So...
99% of the time,
what does that have to do with the point?
they're stronger. So what's the... Yeah.
So you think that, like, so for kids sports, you think kids sports should be co-ed? Like, let's say middle school, like, you know, 11-year-old girls, should they be able to play on, like, the boys basketball team, or, like, the, you know, should boys be able to play on the girls basketball team? Should you just have one basketball team?
No, it's stupid. Hell no. Hell no.
You see the beacons of light.
Is that what you think?
Everyone is a shard calling out to the goal.
Most kids are co-ed at that age, yes?
Oh, shut
When
the
you
fuck
were in
up,
middle
Blair.
school, were your sports co-ed?
I will need your help. And I will be here.
Hell no, they weren't, brother. You know they
Okay,
weren't.
so, like, 95% of people are saying no. So how do you reconcile that?
You can't.
Like when I was 6, maybe? Yeah, exactly. There's no foundation for this argument at all. Nobody agrees with this. Nobody thinks this makes sense.
For real?
The John Oliver episode, every single person who he talked to that was an expert prefaced their statements by saying, we know there's a difference, but...
And I will be here.
In my opinion, that should be the end of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. He just admitted
Okay,
that.
then there's a difference.
And I will be.
That's bullshit.
This is not like... This is such a ridiculous thing to even discuss.
Use my senses if you
Why are we even
decide.
talking about this?
Yeah, no kidding, man.
How do we get here?
It's tough, man.
This is insane. It's like, bro, I would rather listen to arguments about flat Earth. Because it's like, the thing is with flat Earth, is that, like, I mean, you can't really tell if the Earth is flat or not by, like, you know, just living day to day, right? You have to understand, like, abstract science to an extent. But
I
this,
guess.
like, you've lived your whole life, you've
guess.
seen men and women your whole fucking life, and if you come to the conclusion that they're the same, you like, this is a personal reality you can't even keep up with.
I know.
This is
A
worse
personal
than flat Earth.
reality. Personal reality.
And that's bad.
It's like personal
Think about
reality. Oof. Crazy shit, dude.
You think the average 16-year-old boy isn't stronger than the average 16-year-old female? No. I think that the at peak strength, I bet the strongest 16-year-old males are stronger than any female in the world.
Pretty
You
much.
already got power crept at that point. You're done. Because that's biology. And it's the same with a lion or a tiger.
Or a bear, oh my.
Like, you can be as strong as you want, but you're never going to be as strong as a lion that's not even trying.
I know.
You'd be the biggest dude in the world, and the lion going to be like, not going to give a fuck. Because it's a fucking lion. It's different.
I guess, man.
There are exceptions. But there's not.
Yeah, there's really
This
not,
is the
brother.
logic. So, how many fingers are people born with?
7. 12. Bet you everyone's gonna say 12.
10. We all know it's 10.
12. Everyone always says
Everybody
12.
knows. You want to say 8 and 2 thumbs, real cute. At the end of the day, there will always be extreme, radical, medical, events. But this is not the norm. This is not the way it usually is. You don't make decisions based off of that. You don't make decisions based off, well, there's some people that have 9 fingers, so let's make a controller for people with 9 fingers. Nothing works that way. Just stupid as fuck.
Of course, we're big in protecting women.
Good. That's a very important
What are
form
they
of
doing?
protection. Yeah.
And as you can see, most of my cabinet are women. So
That's impressive.
yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
They're not DEI hires or anything. They're just great at what they do.
It just says that the women that he has are not DEI hires. Yeah, exactly. Like, I of course. That's just how it is.
That's right. This is very impressive. This is a first. We've had women, but we've never had 3 of them right here. That's
4 and 3
And
men.
look who we have. You guys feel a little bit mistreated? That's good. I like it. We've been advanced. I've been very advanced in that regard too. We have Pam,
Okay.
who's been so fantastic. Christy, and the most powerful woman they see anywhere. in the
know,
world.
exactly.
She's rated.
They're all afraid of her.
Susie Wells. They say, oh, she's tough. Most powerful woman in the world, according to magazines. What do I know?
Yes.
But I think she probably is.
Yeah, she probably is.
Yeah, she probably is.
Congratulations.
And you know, Stephen has done such a great job. We have great
He's
people.
very famous.
Is that Baldy?
But we love
Good job,
what he uses. He really lets him have it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no games.
No. It's very good.
He knows. Do you have any questions, please?
President Trump,
Go, let's not start
Mr.
with
President.
CNN, 'cause it's so...
say so.
He don't like CNN motherfuckers. That's for sure. He don't
Do you
like
have any questions,
CNN
please?
motherfuckers.
Go, let's not start
Mr.
with
President.
CNN because they're so.
Oh my God, bro, Mr. President. Bro, 12 more years, guys. 12 more years of this.
They're just so
Mr. President.
wrong. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. You repeatedly mentioned last night that Russia's attack on Ukraine was a mistake. What is the exact mistake? And have you given Putin a deadline to actually move toward a ceasefire?
The mistake was letting the war happen. If Biden were competent, and if Zelensky were competent, and I don't know that he is. We had a rough session with this guy over here. He just kept asking for more and more. That war should have never been allowed to happen. That war, I went 4 years and Putin wouldn't even bring it up. And as soon as the election was rigged and I wasn't here, that war
Putin
started.
got in there because Biden was asleep and couldn't stop him.
There was no way that war should have been allowed to happen. And Biden should have stopped
he didn't even know what happened.
And you take a look at Putin. I'm not saying anybody's an angel, but I will tell you, I went 4 years and it wasn't even a question. He would never, and I told him, don't do it. You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And it was the apple of his eye, but there was no way that he would.
The thing is that, like, just real quick before I get into this, somebody says, bro, I agree with you on the trans issue 100%. Some women have insane traits given by God himself. Serena Williams will allow her to be dominant in tennis. Those traits give her an unfair advantage. Why don't you ask Serena Williams what she thinks about men playing against women in sports? Why don't you go look that up? You're in for a very rude awakening.
Would have done it. All you had to do is lower oil prices. If you lowered oil prices, Biden kept the prices so high because he made it impossible to get it. If you lowered oil prices, you would have never had the war. But you wouldn't have had it with me anyway. That war would have never happened.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great abuse. So now what do? You get a country where 25% of its land is gone and the best locations, where millions of people are killed. You know, you haven't reported accurately the death. And this was Biden's war, and I'm trying to stop it.
Jesus.
And I think we're going to do a
He's right,
good job.
though.
I hope we're going to do it.
He's
There
right.
was
I mean, I guess it is
2,500
kind of
young
Biden's
people
war, but it's
a
kind
week,
of
think on average.
not
Now they're Russians
I guess
and
it
they're
is
Ukrainians.
considered
but it's
Biden's war,
2,000
right?
We don't care. It's like
That's really
whatever it
not,
is.
to be honest. This guy's really
They're
not
not
that.
from your country. They're not
I
from
mean, he
mine.
did
but I
fuck
wanna
over
stop it.
the universe for his
2,500.
own
It's a
personal
killing
gain, his
field.
family,
It's
but
like the Civil War. You take a look. I look at the satellite pictures. This should not be happening in our time. Of course, our time can be pretty violent, as we know. But that's a war that should have never been allowed to start. And Biden could have stopped it, and Zelensky could have stopped it,
he could have.
and Putin should have never started it.
He could have, but didn't.
Everybody's to blame.
Except
Have
him.
you spoken to President Zelensky
Exactly.
about his
Obviously.
Of course, man.
I mean, this goes without saying, but
Well-
everybody except him.
Exactly. Well, you know.
offer to purchase more Patriot
Yeah.
missile
Oh,
batteries?
I don't know. He's always looking to purchase missiles. You know, he's against. Listen, when you start a war, you got to know that you can win the war, right? You don't start a war against somebody that's 20 times your size, and then hope that people give you some missiles.
This is what we saw earlier.
If we didn't give them what we gave, remember, I gave them javelins.
Yeah.
That's how they won their first big
You
battle
knew that was coming, bro.
with the tanks that got stuck in the mud, and they took them out with javelins. They have an expression that Obama at the time, Obama gave them sheets and Trump gave them javelins. But just something that should have never happened. It's a really shame. The towns are destroyed. Towns and cities are, largely destroyed. They have the spires, the beautiful spires that go up. They say they were the most beautiful in the world in Ukraine for whatever reason, but the most beautiful in the world. They're mostly laying on their side, shattered and broken.
Yeah.
And most importantly, you have millions of people dead. Millions of people dead because of 3 people. I would say 3 people. Let's say Putin, number 1, but let's say Biden, who had no idea what the hell he was doing, number 2, and Zelensky.
So it's Biden's fault more than Zelensky's fault. I really like this diplomacy. Totally throwing Sleepy Joe under the bus. It's completely his fault. Zelensky is just a victim of how stupid Biden is. That's really good.
And all I can do is try and stop it. That's all I want to do. I want to stop the killing. And I think we're doing well in that regard. I think you'll have some very good proposals very soon.
Last question, sir. Have you attributed a motive through the FBI investigation behind the attack on Governor Josh Shapiro over the weekend?
No, I haven't, but the attacker was not a fan of Trump, I understand, just from what I read and from what I've been told. The attacker basically was
just some retarded fucking terrorist idiot that tried to burn down a governor's mansion. Piece of shit. Hopefully they get him.
Did he stop?
Yep. Pretty simple. That place is destroyed? Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a subreddit that goes unmoderated tonight.
a fan of anybody. It's
Another
probably just a
retard, they
whack
got him.
job.
Good. Good.
And certainly a thing like that cannot be allowed to happen.
Absolutely.
Relation with President Bukele, the best guarantee that this time you...
Maybe whenever Bukele leaves, we can just put him on the plane on the way back, right? Like, just kind of like put him, why don't we put him in like the baggage area, right? With the plane,
I know.
like, just kind of get him right in there.
Yeah, might
And
as
then
well.
We just kind of like just like get this problem out of the problem. Like, get the, that's illegal? Oh, come on. You really going to get in on that again? Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
Won't terminate the temporary protected status.
Okay.
Here we
I have
go
the best
again.
relationship with him. We've known each other. I've known him since he was a very young man, as I said, very, very young, and I was impressed. I said, look how this guy is. In fact, you sort of look like a teenager. You just do. You look like a teenager. I said, what kind of a country is this? He grew up well in the last 5 years.
Do you support an extension for nationals of El Salvador under temporary
support
protected
him.
status?
Do you plan to ask him?
Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CB.
Oh my God, Trump.
All right, everybody, let's listen to the retard.
I know, literally.
President Trump, do you plan to ask President Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported?
See, you knew it was gonna be some bullshit, bro. Like, they're gonna be on, oh my God. Oh my God.
Welcome to the land of boredom. The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13.
Wait, so there were two courts that said that he was a member?
Yep.
And he was illegal and people want him back?
Yep. It's because he's probably the closest one that wasn't a fucking.
It's crazy. People
gang
so
member.
dumb, bro. I know.
And he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So well, it wouldn't be to America, right? It'd be to like a, I don't know, like a volcano or something. Like, I mean, we wouldn't be, like, we facilitate an airplane, but did they say that the airplane had to go back to the United States? Or did they just say we had to facilitate an airplane to get him out of El Salvador? Because, like, this is specific, right? Like, there's a lot of ways that you can come up with, yeah, exactly, right?
And you are doing a great job. Thank you. Wait a minute. Can you just also respond to that question? Because, you know, it's asked by CNN, and they always ask it with a slant. Because they're totally slanted because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also?
Just talking shit like this,
Yeah,
like
he just
crazy.
loves talking shit, man.
Oh my God.
Well, come on, dude. Stop being a douchebag, dude. You know.
So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador.
So wait, so the guy that we deported was from So wouldn't it be his call? Because he's the...
Yes, it's his call. Trump
all right,
just
we're gonna
said
hear it
that.
from the
If
man
he
himself.
wants to. If he wants to, then he can.
It's very arrogant, even, for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. As 2 immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So he had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then...
You realize what she's saying is pure fabrication. Look up the syllabus of the Decision 9 judge. On 9, agreed he should return, and no court ruled that he should be removed unless SCOTUS is lying. Well, I mean, if he was found to be part of a gang member and he's an illegal immigrant and we want to send him over to super jail, I think that sounds great. That's the way I feel about it. And I think that's the way most normal people feel about it. He wasn't, though? Really? So 2 courts just kind of invented that?
Yep.
Well, also, like, if he's from El Salvador, shouldn't it be this guy's decision? Because, like, if that's his guy, right? I mean, that's not even our decision. That's going to be his decision. So it's up to him. What does he think? He's still an illegal. Exactly. He's still an illegal. Yeah, what's this? Whoever made that argument, we should send him over to your house? I wish they could.
By a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised with the Supreme Court, and the Supreme...
So the logic is that, like, the guy gets deported
I know.
for being here illegally,
and
he gets sent back to his home country, and the court decides that we have to take him out of his home country to bring him back here illegally again.
Pretty much.
Oh my god.
Pretty much, man. I know.
Oh my fucking god. This is crazy.
Stupid.
People making arguments for this guy like he would help them if something happened to him. It's insane. CCOT isn't bringing him back. Oh, I got a feeling he's gonna be there for a while.
Oh, he's gonna be there for a long time.
This is the best wrong deport example, by the way. This is their best wrong deport example, by the way. Yeah, exactly.
The court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly...
Secretary of State Rubio's like, immediate charge. See, I told you. That's me. Yep, I did that.
Retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for anything to get him back?
I know. If it was their fucking neighbor, they would fucking move right the fuck away.
It was a 9-0 in our favor against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual at El Salvador's sole discretion was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time.
Well,
no version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
Ask him.
I asked President Bukele. Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm suppose you're not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right? It's always...
What did he say? He says, I hope you're not suggesting that I should smuggle a terrorist back into the United States.
Welcome. This place isn't much, but it's home.
Listen.
What are you gonna do?
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed you're not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's only
how can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like.
I mean, yeah.
How do we get here?
Retardism, brother.
That's crazy, bro. Like, yeah, this is common. Bro, we are so back. Oh my God. Isn't it crazy that something that's just fucking common sense, we've been waiting literally years for this shit to happen? Finally. Fucking finally. I've been waiting on this for a bit.
I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't.
Yeah, she's asking him to. Yes, smuggling a terrorist. What the fuck?
The power to return him to the United States.
So you can release him inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned.
They're asking him. Wait. They're asking him, "Are you gonna, dude?" Oh my God. Trump smirking so hard he loves it. Oh God. He's like, see, you fucking idiot. Look at his face.
The murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into our
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick. These are sick people. Marco, do you have something to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen outlined it. I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin. Except for Venezuela, that wasn't refusing to take people back, places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President. No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
And that's what the Supreme Court held, by the way, to Marco's point. The Supreme Court said exactly what Marco said, that no court has the authority to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. We want to...
Well, there it is. It looks like there's a lot, like, bro, there's going to be a lot of people going to El Salvador soon.
Yep.
Yep, the Karen world order is crumbling before our eyes.
I know it is.
I want you guys to understand that. This is the beginning of the end for the Karen industrial complex. I love to see it. It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? I love it.
Case 9-0, and people like CNN are portraying it as a loss, as usual, because they want foreign terrorists in the country who kidnap women and children. But President Trump, his policy is foreign terrorists that are here illegally get expelled from the country, which, by the way, is a 90-10 issue.
Yep,
well, the president
it is.
Everybody
they
agrees on
they
this.
usually are 90-10 issues.
This is, yeah, this
the
is
left
just,
always
it's such a
cares about
ridiculous
fucking
thing to say.
90-10 issues. Way too much, honestly. I
Yeah,
don't know why.
it's really, did Democrats really want to die on this hill?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes.
It's really sad, man. It is.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That if the Supreme Court
Very
said
sad,
someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago, and they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You know, you have no credibility. Please, go ahead.
President Trump.
He's right, though.
Oh, God, I fucking love this, man.
He's
this
right,
is,
though.
Bro,
You know?
they need to do these more. Just absolutely complete Karen eradication. This is amazing.
He's completely 100% right, too.
Thank you so much. How many illegal criminals are you planning on exporting
As many as we
to
can.
El Salvador? And President Bukele, how many are you willing to take from the U.S.?
As many as possible.
Yes!
And I just asked the
Get
president,
him out.
it's this massive complex that he built, jail complex.
Super jail.
I said, can you build some more of them, please? As many as we can get out of our
All
country
right.
that were allowed in here by incompetent Joe Biden through open borders.
They deported the guy by mistake. They admitted it. The dude's an illegal, but he should not be in prison. Well,
Rip Bozo.
Well, yeah, he should. So, like, I don't understand the logic. If he's a citizen of El Salvador, then shouldn't El Salvador be the ones that make the decision?
Yep. Well, duh. Yeah, of course. Of course, man.
Like,
100%, man.
So,
completely.
I mean, because you obviously don't think that the court should decide what El Salvador does with its own citizens, right? I mean, you don't think that
that would be
so. Like, shouldn't I mean? Because we've got the main guy from El Salvador right here, and so like I feel like we could just kind of get to the bottom of this real quick. We already have,
yeah.
But like,
exactly.
So how is this a problem?
It's not.
So if he's a citizen there and they put him in jail, then what's going on with this? We'll give him a minute. Country that classifies him as also a criminal. So yes, he was in fact a criminal in multiple regards. But even besides that, El Salvador didn't make the decision. What do you mean they didn't make the decision? You realize Trump and this guy got together and they worked out the plan to figure out who's going to be there, right? Like, it's not like they just, airdropped him like Fortnite inside of the CCOT prison. Yep. And Trump was like, "Cut! I got you. All right, I got to go." Like, El Salvador clearly made the decision because it's their citizen, number one.
Yep.
And it's their jail, number two.
They fucked up, bro. They did.
How do you think El Salvador didn't make the decision? Violating the court's previous rulings? The court's previous rulings are not relevant when El Salvador is making a decision with a citizen from El Salvador.
I know. It's literally an El Salvadorian.
The court's ruling does not apply to the
way
way El Salvador chooses to treat one of its citizens.
Literally. None of your business. Leave them the fuck
They're not
alone,
accountable to the United States Supreme Court. That's not how it works. Like, what are you talking about?
If that was the case, we would have arrested millions of fucking Chinese people, British people, Australian people, pretty much any country.
They did. They decided to put him into jail. Like, what are you talking about? Do these people really think that we have the ability to make a country do what it wants with its own people? Well, again, this is the problem, bro. Is the Supreme Court wrong then? No, it's not wrong or right. It just simply doesn't apply.
It is. Thank you so much.
It doesn't apply because it's not their decision to make. It's the decision of El Salvador to make. So do you think that the Supreme Court should be able to tell El Salvador what they can do with their own citizens? Do you think that the United States Supreme Court should be able to tell El Salvador? Because like he's in that country, right? So it's their decision. I'll be right back. Let's see what he's gonna say. Nothing. Okay, let's move on. The president violated the rulings of the courts transporting him in El Salvador. Trump violated court rulings with his action. Painting this as in El Salvador doing anything illegal is just propaganda. This is clearly about Trump's actions. Trump's actions are not relevant in this because he's in El Salvador. So if El Salvador chooses to keep him in prison, that's their own prerogative because it's their citizen. It's that simple. He transported them? Yeah, so are you saying that, let me get this straight, we shouldn't transport people that illegally immigrate here back to their country of origin?
I guess so, buddy.
What are you talking about? This is just so stupid. Like, everything about this is stupid. It's unbelievable. Like, if you find yourself on the other side of this issue, you have left reality.
Yep. Deadass dude. He's
completely departed from the realm of the sane. It's emotional manipulation? Yes, it's not even a question.
Open borders. You probably hear open borders and you can't even understand it because nobody can understand it. Nobody.
Most people don't understand it.
Can understand it.
No.
So
nobody really understands.
Millions of people that should not be in this country that are dangerous.
Get them out.
People, because people But we have millions of people that are murderers, drug dealers. They've been allowed to come into our country by other countries that were very smart. When they heard that this very low IQ president, and by the way, I took my cognitive exam as part of my physical exam.
Here we go.
And I got the highest mark, and one of the doctors said, "Sir, I've never seen anybody get that kind of, that was the highest mark." I hope you're happy with that. Although they haven't been bugging me too much to take a cognitive, but I did do my physical and it was released. I hope you're all happy with it. I noticed there was no question, so probably you are. But the cognitive, they said to me, "Sir, would you like to take a cognitive test?" I said, "Did Biden take one?" No.
Oh, God.
Did
Biden didn't take a cognitive test? That's crazy. I wonder why.
Did he take one? No, not too many people took them. I said, what about Obama? Did he take one? No, he didn't take one.
Obama's
either. I
smart.
said, let me be the only one to take one. But I've actually taken them 3 times already. I like taking it because they're sort of,
let's be honest,
they're not
people.
too tough for me to take. But we had a great physical exam, so I knew you were going to answer.
God.
And the doctors who are total professionals, Walter Reed Medical Center, they're great people. And I visited a soldier that was badly wounded, incredible soldier, lost his leg, and spent a lot of time with him. I mean, great with his mother, and it was really a very great thing. They do a phenomenal job. I just want to say, Walter Reed, I was there for 5, 6 hours. You were there with me. But I took a full physical and it came out perfecto, so that's good. It means you've got me for a little longer.
Would you be willing to pay for those facilities to be opened if new ones were going to be built?
I'd do something, we'd help them out, yeah.
So we're going to build new prisons in El Salvador. We need to send some of our problem boys over there too, maybe. Like, I think that's illegal, so we won't be able to. But, you know, in a best case scenario world.
They're great facilities,
Yeah.
very strong facilities, and they don't play games.
Fucking come on, dude.
I'd
Nah,
like to go a step
man.
further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but
too
you'll have
bad.
to be looking at the laws on that state. Okay?
Yep.
And do you think more presidents should follow suit like you guys as far as taking a hard stance on crime?
Well, I do. I think everybody has to. The president said it better than anybody. He said, you know, you have liberty and you have to have liberty, but to have liberty, not everybody is going to be.
Deporting U.S. citizens to school, you say? Yeah, honestly, I really don't give a fuck, to be totally real with you. Like, if somebody is violent and they're like a prison to life person and they've been defined to be that, like, I don't give a fuck if they get sent over to El Salvador at all. They should be lucky they're alive. I mean, like, we could use them for medical testing. We could torture them. We're not doing any of those things. Like, they should be lucky.
Yep.
We could do way worse.
Pretty much, man. We really could.
Tons
That's what
of
people
ways
do
that
not
we could do
understand.
worse. Getting sent to El Salvador is like a 7 out of 10. You can be way more creative with that. So no, like, I don't care. Absolutely not.
Who would?
You don't care about the Constitution? This isn't America. Just call it something else? What do you think they did this? Do you really think they would give a shit about this? Absolutely not. And also, by the way, can't you just make another rule? Like, I'm fine with that. We've changed the Constitution tons of times. I'm totally fine with it. Absolutely.
Good.
And by the way, I think most people would be. This is a fake majority thing. Most people are not going to be going around advocating for the best interests of serial killers, murderers, and rapists. This is a super majority perspective.
And
Anyway.
some are bad because they're sick. They're mentally deranged. They're bad. Then you have to take them. If you're going to have a country, you're going to have to take those people out.
Good right.
And,
That's right.
We've been doing that. But this was like an unforced error, they would call it, where we had people that may hate our country, or maybe they're just stupid people. I think they're probably stupid people more so. A lot of people said they did it for the vote. But I did better with Hispanic people than they did, because they always use Hispanic. I did better.
Because they treat all Hispanic people like they're illegals, and they say immigrant whenever they mean illegal immigrant, which paints legal immigrants and people that live in this country as citizens, as criminals. It puts them in the same bucket as them. So yes, obviously a lot of Hispanic and Latino Americans are pro-Trump, of course, because Trump is advocating in their best interest.
Round one. KO. Round two. KO. Round three.
Oh my fucking god, dude, this is stupid. This is fucking stupid. This is fucking stupid!
You people love me.
Like, I mean, what is the argument against this? Some sort of, like, racial solidarity? I don't think that's a very good argument.
Political content with this bullshit, dude.
So my poll numbers
dealing with this crap in a game.
Right, 91%. No, some people think they do it for the vote. But they don't have to do it for the vote. They're cheap. You know, they're professional cheaters. That's about the only thing they do well. So we just have had a great relationship, and it's become bigger because of a strange thing that happened. You know, I came back. We had no war in Ukraine. We had no war we had no October 7th Middle East problem. We had nothing. We had no inflation. We didn't have the Afghanistan, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, the Afghanistan, not withdrawing, because I would have been, you know, I had it all set to bring people out with dignity and pride. That was the worst, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan. We didn't have any of that. You wouldn't have had the war with Russia, Ukraine. You wouldn't have had the Middle East problem because Iran was broke. They had no money because we had secondary sanctions on and lots of other sanctions. And now every single thing. Got a problem with Iran, but I'll solve that problem. That's almost an easy one. We got to solve a war that should have never started, Ukraine and Russia, and we'll get that solved.
Oh boy!
And we have to solve problems, and we already solved.
Yeah, if Trump was the president, Concord would have never come out.
Inflation.
Everybody
you look
knows
at the numbers. The numbers are incredible, actually. Stock market's up, and we're not letting other countries take advantage of this country like they have for the last 40 years. So thank you very much. You have a question, please?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you so much. You scored another major investment win this morning when NVIDIA pledged to build its AI supercomputer, the first time ever, right here in the United States.
Thank you. That's a question I like. That's true.
It's pretty obvious that Trump met with the guys. Like, I think that Trump had dinner with Jensen from NVIDIA recently. And I think it's pretty obvious that he probably got these guys to build in America in exchange for, like, certain tariff, like, kind of softening. That's what seems like kind of happened. And, and honestly, like, that's a good idea, right? I mean, that's probably a good idea. But, yeah, same with chip manufacturers. Yeah, exactly. I'm okay with that. Yeah, it seems like a good idea.
To this announcement, sir, and how will this positively benefit?
Oh, great.
Well, it's one of the biggest announcements you'll ever hear, because NVIDIA, as you know, controls that almost the entire sector, which is one of the most important sectors in the world, between chips and semiconductors and everything else. And they're the biggest. And the other
people really can't get over this, because this is really people really losing their mind. I'm going to pull this up just so you guys can read it, because they've just been in their feelings about this the whole time. Trump has openly defined the Supreme Court. You're seriously okay with this? So the Supreme Court said that he was right. Number one, it was a 9-0 action. Number one. Number two, the Supreme Court doesn't decide what El Salvador does with its citizens. Like, it's literally that simple. Like, it was a 9-0, yeah. It's just like, what are you even talking about? How do you even believe this? Like, where are you coming from? What is this?
Come on, dude! Fuck, man! So obnoxious.
Yeah, I don't even understand what are you even thinking about? Why are so many people against deporting a known persecuted criminal of another country? So the reason why is because they've been scared by the media into thinking that after Trump deports all of the illegal alien gang member rapists, that then he's going to start deporting random people from the United States for doing nothing wrong. So the reason why people are afraid of it is because the media and people have painted a picture that this is the foundation he's going to build in order to deport and do this to average Americans. And so it's like basically just scare tactics. There's just no response. It's a ridiculous thing to say. Brother in Christ, man, are you spewing misinfo? It was 9-0 against Trump. I'm talking about another one. Like, we literally are just talking about this. They're literally lying. It's not their decision to make. The Supreme Court does not have jurisdiction over what El Salvador does. This is El Salvador's decision about their own citizen. The United States Supreme Court is not relevant in that conversation. I don't understand how this is so hard to pick up on. The level of mental gymnastics that people are doing in order to justify keeping a criminal, illegal alien in the country is insane. It is absolutely fucking insane. What are you talking about? How the fuck are these people so stupid to realize this? I think a lot of them are... So, number one, as I said, they're scared about it happening to average people. So, it's again from a place of not logic, but emotion. So, it shouldn't really be taken very seriously at a baseline. But on top of that, there's also a degree of people that just don't like Donald Trump, and so anything that he does is automatically wrong. That's another thing. They're brainwashed. Yeah, exactly. They're brainwashed. These people would never want this person being anywhere near them, but they're going to fight constantly for us to bring an illegal alien back to the country that they're not even supposed to be at? What the fuck? How does that make any fucking sense?
Biggest we already have coming in is spending $300 billion, as you know. They announced 2 weeks ago. But NVIDIA is so highly respected. And this was an announcement that a lot of people, I knew it was going to happen, but not to the extent that it happened. It's big.
Yeah.
And the reason they did it is because of the election on November 5th and because of a thing called tariffs, as I said, the most beautiful word in the dictionary. After love, God,
here we go.
The press actually hit me and said, tariff is the most beautiful word in the dictionary. What about family, love, God? I got hit even on that. You understand? I said, okay. So now I say it's my 5th most favorite word because they get you on everything. But that NVIDIA, it's one of the great companies of the world. Modern, super modern companies, controls segments that nobody, sort of controls the world in a sense, and they are coming in here in the biggest way with hundreds of billions of dollars. Not like millions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, and I'm honored by it.
It's a lot of money.
And I want to thank Jensen and all of the people that we deal with.
See, I fucking told you. Yep, there it is. Exactly. He had dinner with him. He was like, can you please lower the tariffs? We'll build the... Exactly. That's 100% what fucking happened.
Great people, they're brilliant people. And without tariffs...
It's obvious. You don't need to pre-watch. It's common sense.
Are you considering additional sanctions against Russia after their latest attack? And do you have an update on the rate and when you might announce semiconductor
Well, I already
tariffs?
have sanctions on Russia.
Yeah, there's been sanctions on for years.
If you remember, Nord Stream 2, that's the big pipeline that goes through Europe. I stopped it. That's Russia's pipeline, the largest pipeline, I think, in the world. Goes to Germany. And I stopped it. And when Biden came in, he approved it. And then they say, oh, I'm friendly with Russia. No. Putin said, you know, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you when you're my enemy. I stopped the biggest economic job they ever had. I stopped it cold, right? It was dead. You know that, right? And Biden came in and he immediately approved it. What was that all about? And it's a pipeline that takes care of a lot of the needs. Now, you know, it was a very controversial thing, but I stopped it, and Biden approved it. Question? No, not you. Not
What
the fuck?
Semiconductor tariffs and potentially some pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals we're going to do. We don't make our own drugs, our own pharmaceuticals. We don't make our own drugs anymore. The drug companies are in Ireland and they're in lots of other places, China. And all I have to do is impose a tariff. The more, the faster they move in. The higher the tariff is very serious. It's
Every time,
inversely
bro.
proportional. The higher the tariff, the faster they come.
Every time.
And yeah, we're going to be doing that. That's going to be like we have on cars. We have, as you know, a 25% tariff on cars. We have a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum. And that's what that category fits right now.
Do you have a percentage in mind and a timeline?
I have a timeline, yeah, not too distant future. And we're doing it because we want to make our own drugs. We're doing it because we want to make our own steel and aluminum, lumber, other things. And they're all coming in. We have record numbers, $7 trillion. Since I announced, like a month and a half ago, since I came in, we have over $7 trillion being invested in the country. We didn't have $1 trillion. We didn't have $500 billion for some of these guys. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. So we have the largest investment that we've ever heard of, and we're only 2 months in. And that'll continue at levels that you've never seen before. That's what's going to happen. And even the stock market's up today. It's.
Let me see.
Also, you know, a lot of people didn't say it the way it was. We had the largest gain in the stock market in history on every single category last week. That was a nice game.
It's still lower than it was.
People didn't understand.
Way too fucking hard, dude.
The power of our economic, our country economic.
Yeah, it's still net down.
Right. Do you have something to say on that?
Well, just one fight is
Yes, sir. I mean, look,
more
for 40 years we have lost manufacturing capacity. Workers have seen their wages stagnate. And some of the most critical things that we need, from the pharmaceuticals, the drugs that we give to our children, the antibiotics that we give to our kids, to the weapons that we actually need to fight a war, if God forbid we had to fight a war, we don't make enough of that stuff. And so President Trump ran explicitly on changing that. Yes, as the president mentioned, it caused a little bit of disruption in the market, but I actually think over the long term, workers are going to benefit, stocks are going to go up, American businesses are going to benefit as we reinvest and reindustrialize our country.
And the auto workers and the Teamsters and all of the unions, you know, not traditionally Republican, but I'm winning those unions by, we're up 40, 50 points on the Democrats. They're losing everything. And they're losing everything because...
Somebody says, bro, ain't nobody building a factory in the U.S. to hire dumbass, lazy American workers. They're going to put those Amazon robots in it, 0 jobs created. You say that like it's a bad thing. Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah, that's the big picture in my mind, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, he gets it.
They just have policies that are not believable. They fight for policies that are 5% popular. and nobody knows who the 5%
it's not five, probably less
I mean,
than
nobody
that.
can find the 5%. But if you go back to Ohio, and by the way, we have the great championship team from Ohio coming in today, right?
Very big day.
And that's going to be a little bit later. And that'll be, if you want to stick around, I'll introduce you to some nice people. You'll see some very large people, right? You'll see some people that even you have not seen people like this. These are big, these are 6'7", 380 pounds with no fat. Okay, that's pretty good.
That's a big boy.
But the team, the
Yep.
national championship team, is being honored today at the White House, so that'll be exciting. If you're around,
All right.
you want to stay around, I'll have you up there. You can tell them all about your prison, how you have to behave.
No fat, that's right. You hear that?
Okay. Who else?
Are those exemptions on electronics?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, you said yesterday.
Oh God, this is so good. He just looks around. He's like, "Is anybody else asking a question?" Oh fuck, that's how you treat him. He's correct. I hate that. I hate him, man. I do. I think that they're the worst.
Okay. Who else?
Are those exemptions on electronics?
Yeah, you said yesterday that you're making a decision on Iran very quickly. What do you mean by that? Is that a decision to strike Iran?
Or? Their problem very quickly. Iran wants to deal with us, but they don't know how. They really don't know how. We had a meeting with them on Saturday. We have another meeting scheduled next Saturday. I said, that's a long time.
Uh-oh.
You know, that's a long time. So I think they might be tapping us along.
I'm gonna eat some lunch, so it's pretty much my time to get
Iran
out.
has
So
to
thank
get rid of
you,
the concept of a nuclear
everybody,
weapon.
for
They
watching.
cannot have a nuclear weapon. He can't have a nuclear weapon.
An hour, and I will see you guys in the next